Hello, I'm Miss Karen at Adams Memorial Library, and I'm here with our library friends, Rosie and Dandelion and Bryony and Diantha. And this week they have found some books about music for me to share with you. And some of these music books, a couple of them are about real people, somebody you may have heard of, somebody you may not have, and then the other ones are just about other bands, but they're all about music. So the books I have to share with you today are Drum Dream Girl, How One Girl's Courage Changed Music, which was written by Margarita Engle and illustrated by Rafael López. The Beatles were fab, and they were funny. The Beatles Were Fab was written by Kathleen Krull and Paul Brewer, and the illustrations are by Stacy Innerst. This book is called The Little Band. Here they are, The Little Band. This book was written by James Sage, and the illustrations are by Keiko Narahashi. And this last one is about a band called Punk Farm, and this was written and illustrated by Jarrett J. Krosoczka. Let me tell you a little bit more about these ones. So Drum Dream Girl is based on a real person and a real story. And the Drum Dream Girl lived on an island of music in a city of drum beats, and there the drum beat girl dreamed. She dreamed of pounding tall conga drums, tapping small bongo drums, and boom, boom, booming with long, loud sticks on big, round, silvery, moon-bright timbales. But on this island where the girl lived, everyone said that only boys should play drums, not girls. So this was actually on Cuba, and it happened a long time ago, but because of this girl who kept dreaming and kept practicing how she could, she listened to other drummers, she tapped her feet, she tapped her hands, and eventually she found some drums and she got to play and practice. And her sisters, her big sisters, who had a band of their own, were so excited that their little sister could play drums with them, but the father said, nope, only boys should play drums. So if you check this book out from the library, you can find out. Read about the real person who changed music, changed ideas in people's minds in Cuba, and showed that anybody can play music. So if you check this book out from the library, you can find out a little more about her. Now, these people you probably have heard of before, the Beatles. The Beatles are a very famous band from England, and in this book, talks about how they were fab, short for fabulous, but also that they said funny things too. They were friends, and they made music, and they didn't take themselves too seriously. So they got together in Liverpool, England, and their names were John, Paul, George, and Ringo. And when they were trying to come up with names for their band, they had a lot of different ideas, but finally they decided they would be called the Beatles, but not spelled like Beetle the Bug, spelled their own way, because they thought that would be more fun. So they played music, and eventually they kind of got popular enough that sometimes they had to be rescued from the big screaming crowds of people who were so happy to see them, all the fans. And it says one time Ringo, who was the drummer, a police officer just had to carry him away on the officer's shoulders. But eventually they started getting popular in the United States too, and they were on TV in the United States, and they just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and their music got more and more and more popular. So if you check this book out from the library, you can find out more about the Beatles and what happened with them. And maybe it'll inspire you to make some music too. Or maybe this book will. This book is called The Little Band. And one day, this little band. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 girls in this band. They started coming into town. People could hear music in the distance, and then they saw the band coming and marching through town. And people didn't know what was happening. And they stopped and listened, and they wondered, why was the band here? What were they doing? But the band just played music. They never said why they were there. They just let the music do the talking. But eventually that music, when people heard it, sometimes it made people stand on their heads. Sometimes it made them just dance. Maybe sing, and maybe laugh, and maybe be a little more cheerful, because music can do all of that too. So again, this might inspire you to make some music of your own. And this last book is about a band that is also fab. And if you haven't heard of Punk Farm, oh, you really should, because they're fantastic. By day, Punk Farm lives on a farm, and they live on Farmer Joe's farm, and he thinks they're just, regular animals. But at night, when Farmer Joe goes to bed, that is when Punk Farm gets out their instruments and starts practicing. They have a show to get ready for tonight. So Pig plugs in his amp, Cow sets up her drums, Chicken sets up her keyboards, Goat tunes his bass, and Sheep tests the microphone. Testing, 1, 2, 3. And they get ready to practice, but then, Cow says, oh, guys, there's a light on in Farmer Joe's house. Is Farmer Joe gonna catch them? Nope, not tonight, so all the animals can come to the show. And, so now they're ready. They've got their show faces on, and they are ready to go. And Sheep asks the crowd, who's ready to rock? And the crowd goes crazy. And then Sheep starts their number 1 song. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a cow, E-I-E-I-O. And there she is playing the drums. So if you would like to find out more about Punk Farm, you can check this book out from the library. And there's a sequel too when Punk Farm goes on tour, so you can look for that one also. But there's also a little tidbit. This picture, they're saying, "Thank you, Wisconsin," at the end of the concert. And actually, if you come to Adams Memorial Library and come downstairs, you can look around and see if you can see this picture hanging up on the walls anywhere. So friends, for any of these books, you can come into the library. We'll have them in the children's room, or you can always call and reserve them from home, pick them up through curbside service, or check them out that way. But I hope you'll enjoy them if you do get a chance to read the whole thing, and I hope you will join the library friends and me next week when we'll talk about some more books. Thanks, everybody. Bye.